りのブドウってホラーじゃなかったね。
てか、この流れならいけるんじゃね
え。どう？怖い顔になってる？何よ、なんか言ってよ。
Last time on Prison School, Shingo was allowed to leave the prison school campus. Permission to leave campus from Mako, Shingo heads to an arcade center and starts playing games. However, he is spotted by second-year student Anzu, who recognizes his uniform and questions him about why he's outside the prison block. Shingo quickly comes up with an excuse, saying he's running an errand. The two engage in a confrontation, and Anzu reveals that she is the top-ranked player in the fighting game he was playing. Later, Mako realizes Gakuto's role in Kyoshi's escape and grants Shingo permission to leave the campus. During Shingo's next leave, he goes back to the arcade where he meets Anzu again. She assists him in winning a game and then joins him on an errand. Afterward, they indulge in some ice cream together at the cafe. While enjoying their treats, Anzu invites Shingo to watch a movie with her, which he mistakes for a horror B-movie. Despite Shingo's reluctance, Anzu encourages him to come, assuring him that it will be deprogrammed soon. Later, Hana enters with a clothes package for Mako, given by Mari. At the courtyard of the prison block during their work detail the next day, the boys are surprised as Mako shows up in a tight uniform, concealing her panties and breasts. Initially, the boys are taken aback, however, they soon become accustomed to the sight. To Andre's dismay, Mako refuses to punish him even when he refers to her as his mother. Furthermore, throughout the following days, Andre's many mistakes and desperate ploys are ignored by her as well. Deprived of his usual punishment, he writes his mental desolation in his diary. Mari discovers his diary at the USC's meeting, where she reads about Andre's inner turmoil. Later, in the school's corridor, Mako nearly faints due to her tight uniform, and Shio helps transport her to the USC's office. While there, Mako is shocked to see the front page of a report on DTO with the title, Boys Expulsion. Suddenly, Mari and Hana arrive, interrupting Mako. Fearing for the worst, she quickly leaves the room. Mari then announces to Mako and Hana the DTO is entering its final step, leaving Chio shocked as she overhears the conversation outside. Later, in the bats, Kiyoshi explains his fears of the USC's plots to Gakuto from the last event and shows him Chio's message that he failed to decipher. However, a shocked Gakuto quickly discovers that the message was written vertically as top to bottom, whereas Kiyoshi had previously read it horizontally as left to right. As a result, Kiyoshi is finally able to decipher the katakana message as "Boys Expelled Today." He correctly determines that the USC is plotting their expulsion at Andre's expense, much to Joe and Gakuto's shock. While the boys were bathing, Andre suddenly heard the voice of Mako coming from his cell. In his delirious state, he followed the voice and entered the guard office of the prison block where he found his diary. To his shock, he discovered that another author had completed portions of it, predicting that he would receive punishment after leaving the office. Upon leaving the guard office, Andre was quickly targeted by the USC. The boys realized this and began searching for him urgently. In the courtyard, Andre encountered Mako, who was furious and threatened to punish him severely. Her tight uniform even burst, only to return to normal moments later. Driven to desperation, Andre attempted to reach the vice president but was blocked by a barbed wire barricade. Mako encouraged him to break through, and with the boys urging him on, he managed to do so. However, his triumph was short-lived as Mako promptly administered a whipping as a punishment. Suddenly, Hana knocked him to the ground as Mako declared a prison break. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What is a borderline hentai anime? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. In the park, Shingo and Anzu expresses their boredom with the historical monochrome film they just watched. Despite this, Shingo almost kisses Anzu after she playfully teases him. However, he quickly interrupts the moment when he sees two young boys bullying another boy. The bullied boy is accused of breaking the rule of not talking to girls, but he bravely stands up for himself and asks for forgiveness. In an unexpected turn of events, the bullied boy throws sand at Shingo, mistaking him for a bully as well. Anzu praises Shingo for his intervention, but he feels guilty for betraying the boy's trust by dating a girl. As they talk, Anzu tearfully reveals that she was ordered by Mari to prevent Shingo from returning to the prison block before curfew in exchange for a future executive position. Despite initially feeling calm, Shingo is horrified when he learns that his watch was delayed by half an hour and he only has 5 minutes left before curfew. Meanwhile, the USC members at the prison block wait for Shingo's arrival, but begin to lose hope when Meiko informs them of the school's upcoming wet t-shirt contest. As Shingo rushes across the road to reach the school, he narrowly avoids being hit by a truck. Meanwhile, Meiko is seen mockingly beating the boys in the courtyard while holding a pocket watch. However, it is later revealed that Shingo jumped before the van collided with him, and that the driver of the truck was actually the school cleaner who had been insulted by Gakuto. As the time limit draws closer and the USC awaits their judgment, everyone is surprised to see Shingo arrive at the school, driven by the cleaner. The boys are thrilled to see him, but soon realize that they can't open the barricaded door. At exactly 6:30, DTO becomes a success, but Shingo objects to the malfunctioning door. Meiko rebuffs his claim and reveals the new operation of the door, which the boys were unaware of due to their repairs earlier that day. Mari notes that the boys will be expelled to the utmost satisfaction of the USC, and rumors begin to spread throughout the student body. In the mess hall of the prison block, Shingo apologizes, anticipating that the boys will violently punish him for his hypocritical treachery. Despite this, the boys forgive him happily, with Kiyoshi taking the lead in this regard. However, when he reveals that he saw her down blouse out of jealousy, the boys violently beat him up. At the chairman's office, Mari presses her father, stating that according to the USC's rules, they should be expelled. After both Mari and Meiko deny Chiyo's accusations of plotting DTO to expel the boys, an unapologetic Chiyo leaves the office. The chairman says that the faculty will gather to discuss the boys' expulsion in 2 weeks' time. After Anzu leaves, Mari suggests to Hana and Meiko that they place her under surveillance, even though Meiko has her panties hanging on the hook of the door. Meanwhile, in the prison block, the boys decide to procure evidence of DTO to prevent their imminent expulsions, with Shingo mentioning having seen DTO at some time. In the USC office, Meiko suddenly falls to the ground as her underwear snaps on the door handle. Initially, Mari rushes to help her up, and then Hana offers her leggings, when Meiko refuses. Meanwhile, in the prison block, Shingo makes a shocking discovery. He spots DTO on the screen of an email program on the guard office computer. In response, the boys come up with a plan to retrieve email evidence of DTO to avoid being expelled. However, their hope fades when they realize that USC probably deleted the data. Despite the setback, Gakuto suggests that he can recover the data through the use of a recovery program if given enough time. Although the boys start to feel discouraged, Kiyoshi boosts their spirits by mentioning the upcoming wet t-shirt contest. As Meiko walks through the corridor next to the mess hall of the prison block, she hears the boys playing arm wrestling and taunting her with claims of Andre's strength, insinuating that she, being a girl, is weaker. Fueled by anger, she storms into the cell and challenges Andre to an arm wrestling match. However, Gakuto interjects, stating that she must first defeat him before challenging Andre. He flexes his muscles to prove his strength. Meiko easily defeats Gakuto and even bends his arm in the process. Kiyoshi attempts to take Meiko's jacket for the keys but fails. Kiyoshi then challenges Meiko to defeat him as well before challenging Andre. Meanwhile, Gakuto leaves the corridor of the mess hall and heads towards the guard office to retrieve the evidence. As the match commences, Kiyoshi initially struggles to keep his arm up against Meiko's overpowering strength. Suddenly, the table collapses due to an act of sabotage by a boy, causing chaos in the room. Despite the setback, Kiyoshi summons the courage to challenge her once again, but to no avail. Meiko's formidable strength and distracting physique prove too much for him to handle. Shingo, on the other hand, is not interested in the match and suffers an immediate defeat after failing to distract her with fictional stories about his arm wrestling abilities. Even Joe, who bravely steps up to the challenge, falls victim to Meiko's single fluid movement, which sends him crashing into the wall, with only Andre left as a contender and 6 full minutes remaining in the contest. After defeating the other boys, Meiko notices a loose hair on Andre's nipple, which disorients her due to its long length. However, Andre assumes his stance and the match begins. Throughout the match, both Andre and Meiko continuously trade arm positions. Despite Meiko appearing to have more strength, she is unable to overpower Andre due to his counter grips. Unbeknownst to the boys, Andre's long hair sways with his breath, which serves as a distraction, resulting in a comeback for Andre. Meanwhile, at the office, Gakuto manages to download the software onto the computer. However, the installation process becomes slow, which frustrates him. Despite struggling against Andre, Meiko's stream of insults and spit begins to excite him, weakening his grip. In the end, Meiko weakens due to the nipple hair, but she realizes that closing her eyes will allow her to force a victory. As Andre is defeated, the boys breathe a sigh of relief upon seeing Gakuto enter the mess hall. Just as Kiyoshi inquires about the recovered data, Gakuto reveals that he could only retrieve the deleted data and not the email due to a sudden commotion. Consequently, the boys come to the harrowing realization that their expulsion is unavoidable. Later that night, while in their cells, the boys express their remorse and reminisce about the moments they shared together. As they reflect upon the bond they formed during their time at the academy, the boys become overwhelmed with emotion, knowing their school lives are coming to an end. What will happen next? Will our boys be truly expelled? Find out on our next recap of Prison School.